Okay, so today is a very auspicious day according to the Vaishnav calendar. Today is Akshay Tritiya in America, and according to the Indian calendar, it is tomorrow. So this is a very auspicious tithi called Akshay Tritiya, and there are so many important spiritual events that happened in this particular tithi. It is told that Brahmaji started the process of creation on this particular day. Primary creation has been done by Vishnu, and then Lord Vishnu gave the ingredients of creation along with the knowledge of creation to Brahmaji. And then Brahmaji started creating the material universes on this particular day. So there are many other important things that happened. So the spiritual significance of this tithi is whatever you start on this day will remain Akshay. Akshay, the word Akshay means it will not deteriorate. So therefore, this is a very auspicious tithi, and many important events also are done in this day, like house opening ceremony, marriages. So every muhurta of this particular tithi is considered to be auspicious. So you don't have to consider the different lagnas and muhurtas. Everything is auspicious in this day. So many devotees, they also give charity on this day. Mainly charity given to Vaishnavas for the service of the Supreme Lord, for the service of preaching the message of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and the service of Gomata is considered to be very, very auspicious on this day. So if possible, some small amount you can donate for Go Seva or some Vaishnav Seva, some preaching activities. So that will give you immense amount of benefit on this particular tithi. And obviously we are hearing Bhagavad Gita, so that's amazing on Akshay Tritiya. And it's also recommended that you chant more number of rounds than usual in this particular tithi. Okay, so let's start with the Mangalachan prayers. You can also chant after me, staying muted. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupakada Mahyam Dadati Shrupadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscham Shri Rupam Shagrajatam Shahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Shabadhutam Parijana Shahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Shahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscham Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha. Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, so we are discussing the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And in the first chapter, we have seen Arjuna giving different arguments for not fighting. The first argument is compassion. And already we have seen how Lord Krishna defeated that argument by introducing the topic of Atma Tattva, or the science of soul. So in this particular section, Lord Krishna has demonstrated two different ways to deal with this argument of Arjuna, that is compassion. So the first way is, if we consider that we are spirit soul and the body is non-permanent and soul is permanent. So if that is true, then the soul is eternal, soul cannot be killed, and the body cannot be protected, it will die one day. So the whatever Arjuna does, it does not matter. Whether Arjuna fights or not, the soul will be permanent, and also the body will remain non-permanent and it will die someday. So why not execute Kshatriya duty? If Arjuna's response does not matter, then why not perform the duty or Kshatriya dharma of Arjuna? So that's the first one. First aspect of defeating compassion. The second aspect was that if we do not believe in this philosophy, if we do not think that we are not soul, but we think that we are body and we are made up of chemicals, so then also there is no reason for lamentation, because then death means some loss of chemicals, and who laments for loss of some chemicals? So in both ways, Arjuna should fight. So that was the defeat of or refutation of the first argument of compassion. So now today we will see the second argument, and also we will try to cover the third argument. So the second and third argument are respectively no enjoyment and sinful reactions, and that will be defeated in verse number 31 to 37 is called the section of Sakam Karma Yoga, which is prescribed duty gives enjoyment, and this is the refutation of the no enjoyment argument. And then in the next section from 38 to 53, the section is called as Buddhi Yoga or Niskam Karma Yoga, and in this particular section, Krishna describes how to work in a detached manner, and that will not bring any reactions. If we are doing Niskam Karma Yoga, then karma will not produce any reactions. So that's the refutation of sinful reactions argument. Okay, so let's start and see what are the arguments given by the Supreme Lord. So in the verse number 30, or end of the section of Atma Tattva, Krishna describes, O descendant of Bharata, he who dwells in the body can never be slain. He who dwells in the body means the soul. The soul can never be slain, therefore you need not grieve for any living being. So there is no cause of your lamentation. Now the second argument is no enjoyment, and this argument is on the material platform. So there are two things. One is spiritual understanding and another is material platform. So generally 99% of current population, they do not understand the spiritual subject matter. They try to evaluate everything on the material platform, what I will gain materially. They do not have this knowledge that we are not this body, we are soul. And although we may have so many material achievements, that does not matter. That will not satisfy the soul. We need some spiritual treatment for the satisfaction of the soul. And whatever material assets we accumulate, that will be destroyed. Any day that can be destroyed, because death can come anytime unnoticed, right? And then we have to take our next birth according to our karma. And then from again at that lifetime, we have to start from zero, from scratch. Whatever achievements we have done, material achievements, everything will be erased. And again, we have to start from scratch. So the material achievements, they have some importance while we are living in this lifetime for the maintenance of the body. They have some importance. But the spiritual importance, spiritual significance, or how to satisfy the soul, that is more important. So the second argument given by Arjuna is actually on the material level. It is not on the spiritual level. Arjuna is telling that with whom I will enjoy if all my relatives die in this battlefield. Okay, by killing my own family members, how can I enjoy? General understanding of a materialistic person is whenever they get some achievement, they want to share it with the family members, and sharing with the family members increases their joy. So Arjuna's point is, if everyone dies in the battle, what will I do? by winning the battle. I cannot even enjoy without my family members. So this is a material consideration. So Arjuna is thinking on material platform. So Krishna will also reply that even if you think on the material platform, yet you should fight. So that's the theme of this section. So let's start from verse number 31. Swadharmam apicha veksham navikam pitumarhashim dharmyadhi yujjat sheyonyat kshatriyascha navidyate. Considering your specific duty as a kshatriya, you should know that there is no better engagement for you than fighting on religious principles. And so there is no need for hesitation. So first of all, Krishna is telling, because you are a kshatriya, you should fight against irreligion and you have to fight for the establishment of religious principles. So that will bring the best for you. How that will bring the best for you, Krishna will explain. But in this verse 31, Krishna is telling that because you are a kshatriya, so we can take notes that we are currently discussing this section of Sakam Karma. From verse number 31 to 37, the section is Sakam Karma. And what is the theme of this section? Prescribed duty gives enjoyment. And this is also the refutation of the second argument given by Arjuna, which is no enjoyment. So please write down this. Sakam Karma, the essence is prescribed duty gives enjoyment. And this is the refutation of the second argument, no enjoyment. From verse number 31 to 37. Yeah, so verse number 31 says in brief that because you are a kshatriya, you should follow your kshatriya dharma. Okay, that is fighting on religious principle. So in one word, Krishna is telling Arjuna that you should execute your kshatriya dharma. And there is no better enjoyment. So execution of kshatriya dharma is best for you. We can write like this. Execution of kshatriya dharma is best for you. Krishna is telling this. Okay, so let's move on to the next verse. Jadrichaya chopannam swargam dharam upabritam shukina kshatriya partha lavante yuddhamidrisham. O Partha, happy are the kshatriyas to whom such fighting opportunities come unsought, opening for them the doors of heavenly planets. So Krishna is telling, because you are a kshatriya, you have got this opportunity to fight this Kurukshetra war, and this is a great opportunity. And this opportunity will open the doors for heavenly planets. So Krishna is not telling here spiritual planets. Spiritual planets or Vaikuntha are beyond the material universe. But the heavenly planets, they are within the material universe. And in the heavenly planets, there is material enjoyment, not spiritual enjoyment. Spiritual enjoyment is far more superior to material enjoyment. One who has got the taste of spiritual enjoyment, the material enjoyment is insignificant. Our acharyas have written different verses glorifying the spiritual happiness, ocean of bliss. Kaivalyam narakayate tridashapur akasha pushpayate durdantendriya kala sarpapatali prutkhada damstrayate Vishwam Purna Sukhayate Vidimahendradishcha Kitayate Jat Karunya Kataksha Vaibhavatam Tam Gaurame Vastumaha. One who has received the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and by receiving the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, one who has experienced the nectar of spiritual bliss, for that particular person, this heavenly enjoyments and everything, even Brahmananda, the enjoyment of liberation, becomes insignificant. But here Krishna is talking of material enjoyment because Arjuna has questioned about whether I will get material enjoyment or not. So Krishna is telling, even if you want material enjoyment, you should fight. You should execute your Kshatriya dharma. So verse number 32, we can write that Kshatriya dharma opens the doors of heavenly planets. Swarga dwaram apavritam. And Kshatriya dharma opens the doors for heavenly planets. So by execution of Kshatriya dharma only, you will be able to enjoy the heavenly planets. So basically, Krishna is trying to convince this, that if you fight and you win, then you will get the kingdom. If you fight and you die in the battlefield, for a Kshatriya, dying in the battlefield is also a very auspicious, the Kshatriya gets a very auspicious destination, and that is he will achieve the heavenly planets. So by fighting, if you win, you will get the kingdom on earth. If you die, you will get heaven. On the other hand, if you do not fight, people will blaspheme you, they will dishonor you, and because you have neglected your execution of Kshatriya dharma, you will get sinful reactions. So this is the theme Krishna is trying to convince. So verse number 32, that Kshatriya dharma opens the doors for heavenly planets. Then in verse number 33, Atha chetvam dharmyam sangramam na karishyasi tata swadharmam kirtim cha hitva papam abhavshyasi. If, however, you do not perform your religious duty of fighting, then you will certainly incur sins for neglecting your duties and thus lose your reputation as a fighter. So if you fight, you will get heavenly enjoyment. And if you do not fight, then what will happen? You will incur sinful activities for neglecting your duties. And you will also lose your reputation. For a Kshatriya, losing reputation, people are talking ill about that person, is even considered to be worse than death. So these insulting words for a Kshatriya is worse than death. So Krishna is telling Arjuna that if you fight, you are concerned about material pleasure. So if you fight, if you follow your Kshatriya dharma, material pleasure is confirmed for you. On the other hand, if you do not do your duties, then you will incur sinful activities and also you will lose your reputation. So there are two things described here. We can write down text number 33. Not fighting causes sinful activities and losing of reputation, loss of reputation. So not fighting has two results. One is sinful activities and another is loss of reputation. So that's the point of this verse. Okay, the next. Akirtim chapi bhutani kathayishyanti te vyayam sambhavityasya chakritir maranad atirichyate. People will always speak of your infamy, and for a respectable person, dishonor is worse than death. So this is the thing, especially for a Kshatriya, dishonor is worse than death. So this is also telling the ill effects of not fighting. Another ill effects is people will always speak of your infamy. Okay. So basically people will blaspheme you and will speak ill words about you, and you will be dishonored, which is worse than death. So again, text number 34, people will blaspheme you if you do not fight. Another effect of not fighting. So till now Krishna has spoken, if you fight, you will get heavenly pleasure. If you do not fight, then you will incur sinful reactions, number one. And then people will blaspheme you and you will have loss of reputation. These three ill effects of not fighting. Vayadrana duparatam mamshante tam maharatha yesham cha tam bahumato bhutva yasya shilagvatam. The great generals who have highly esteemed your name and fame will think that you have left the battlefield out of fear only. and thus they will also they will consider you insignificant. So the important personalities, other Kshatriyas, the great generals, the other Kshatriyas will consider you insignificant because you have left the battlefield out of fear. So for a Kshatriya, there has to be seven qualities in a Kshatriya. Shaurya teja dhritir daksham juddhe chapi apalayanam danam ishvara bhavascha shatra karma shabhavajam. These are the 7 characteristics of a Kshatriya. So one of them is yuddhe cha api apalayanam. Palayan means leaving the battlefield. Okay, and apalayanam means a Kshatriya should never leave the battlefield. Kshatriya should never face his back to the enemy. Kshatriya should die by facing the enemy in front, but it should not leave the battlefield. So that does not suit a Kshatriya like you. And the great generals, other Kshatriyas, will consider you insignificant if you do this, if you do not execute your Kshatriya duty. Okay, so verse number 35 says that other Kshatriyas will consider you insignificant. Text number 36. Avachyavadamscha bahun vadishyanti tavahitam nindantastav smartham tato dukkhataram nukim. Your enemies will describe you in many unkind words and scorn your ability. What could be more painful for you? So the enemies, other Kshatriyas will consider you insignificant in the previous verse. Now in verse number 36, Krishna is telling, your enemies will describe you in many unkind words. Because enemies are anyway, they are very excited to find faults within you. So if you do not execute your Kshatriya dharma, they will get more opportunities for blaspheming you. So enemies will describe you in many unkind words. That's the statement of verse number 36. Enemies will deride you or blaspheme you. So till now, these are the different ill effects of not fighting. Ato va prapshashi swargam jitva va bhokshashe mahim tasmad uttishta kaunteya juddhaya kritanishchaya. O son of Kunti, either you will be killed on the battlefield and attain the heavenly planets. If you are killed on the battlefield, a Kshatriya being killed on the battlefield will attain heavenly planets. Or otherwise, if you conquer, then you will enjoy the earthly kingdom. Therefore, get up with determination and fight. So both ways, if you fight and if you win the battle, then also you will be able to enjoy material happiness. And even if you lose and if you die on the battlefield, then also you will be able to enjoy material happiness by going into heavenly planets. So both way, this is a win-win situation for you if you fight. But if you do not fight, there are so many problems. So verse number 37 says, this particular thing you can write in this way, that fighting, if you fight and you win, then you will get the kingdom. If you fight and you lose or you die, then you will get heavenly planets. And there you will be able to enjoy material happiness. And on earthly planet also, you'll be able to enjoy material happiness. So material happiness is guaranteed on this path of fighting. And if you do not fight, you will incur sinful reactions. The enemies will blaspheme you and you will have to face dishonor. So this is how Krishna has again analyzed all different cases for fighting and not fighting and proven that the best thing for you to fight. Okay, so this ends the section of Niskam Karma Yoga. This ends the section of Sakam Karma Yoga. Then we will enter the section of Niskam Karma Yoga or Buddhi Yoga. So in this section 31 to 37, Krishna has proven that even if you are aspiring for material happiness, you should fight. Okay. So before entering the next section, is there any question related to this Sakam Karma? And then we can move to Niskam Karma Yoga, which is the refutation of the third argument. Okay, no questions? Fine, let's start verse number 38. So again, just to remind you, what was the argument? The argument by Arjuna was, I will incur sinful reactions if I kill all of them. So although killing irreligious person is not considered to be sinful, but still Arjuna, being attached to the family members, is considering, if I kill my own family members, I will incur sinful reactions. But no, because they are on the side of irreligion, killing them is a dharma for Arjuna. Arjuna will not get any sinful reactions. But due to attachment, Arjuna is thinking like that. Just like if a soldier is fighting for his own country and killing the opponents, then he will not incur any charge for murder. On the other hand, that particular soldier will be awarded with different military awards for fighting vigorously with the opponents and killing so many of them. So similarly, when Kshatriyas are fighting for establishment of dharma, that is considered to be a pious activity, not sinful activity. But Arjuna is thinking like that due to family attachment. So now Krishna will show that how Arjuna is thinking wrong. Verse number 38. Sukhe dukhe same kritva labha labho jaya jayo tato judhyaya jujvasva naivam papam avavshashi. Do thou fight for the sake of fighting without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat, and by so doing, you shall never incur sin. So Krishna is telling here a beautiful secret of how can we not incur any sinful reactions. There is a way of acting in such a way that we will not incur any sinful reactions. Do thou fight for the sake of fighting. Just do your duty. Because it is your duty for fighting, you should fight. You should not have any attachment towards the result. Okay. So we are coming to that section, that this section of Niskam Karma Yoga basically refers to, you should not be attached to the fruits of your action. Do everything as your duty, as an offering to the Supreme Lord. So that is called the Niskam Karma Yoga. So therefore Krishna is telling, do thou fight for the sake of fighting without considering happiness or distress. So do not become attached to happiness or become averse to distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat. Become equipoised and then execute your duty. And if you execute your duty in such a way, then you shall never incur any sinful activity. Okay. When do we incur sinful reactions? When we are aiming for some result, and for getting that result, we are doing something which is irreligious, then we incur sinful reactions. But if we execute our duty just for the sake of doing it as an offering to the Supreme Lord, and we are not attached to the fruits of these actions, that means we are not doing it for ourselves, we are doing it for Krishna. So therefore, we will not be responsible for the reactions of that work. So therefore, we shall never incur any sinful activity. So that's the point of verse number 38. Okay, so 38 says that do your or execute your Kshatriya Dharma as your duty, being equipoised, and thus you will not incur any sinful reactions. So now there is a consideration, the word Niskam Karma Yoga. What does it mean? Niskam means there is no calm or there is no desire for the fruits. So Niskam Karma Yoga means I am doing my work as a duty and I am not attached to the fruits of my action. Now the interesting thing is Niskam Karma Yoga is incomplete without bhakti. If one is not performing Bhakti Yoga, he cannot perform Niskam Karma Yoga to the fullest extent. It is not possible. This particular thing that I will not be attached to the fruits of the action, still I will work just like a duty, it is extremely impossible. But it is possible only when you are doing everything for Krishna, you are offering your fruits to Krishna, then it is possible. So the Krishna factor has to be there, and wherever the Krishna is added to your yogic practice, it becomes Bhakti Yoga. You are doing everything for Krishna, then it is Bhakti Yoga. So without Bhakti Yoga, performance of Niskam Karma Yoga is incomplete. So here Krishna is prescribing that you should perform Niskam Karma Yoga. But gradually Krishna will unfold that this is impossible without Bhakti. And this will be more elaborately explained in the chapter 3. The chapter 3, whole name of chapter 3 is Karma Yoga. So Karma Yoga is very elaborately explained. And there we can see at the end of this chapter, Krishna will say, Mai sarvani karmani shanyashadhatma chetasa. So how can you achieve this state of not being attached to the fruits of your actions, still executing your duty? By offering everything to me, offering all your works to me. So whatever we do, we have to think, I'm doing it for Krishna. We have to find a connection with Krishna. If whatever we are doing has no connection with Krishna, then it is very, very dangerous. And we will be responsible for our actions, and we have to suffer for those actions in some lifetime or in the current lifetime. So whatever we do that has no relation with Krishna, this is very, very extremely dangerous. That will bind us in the actions and reactions of karma, in the karmic bondage, and we have to suffer for those karma. So whatever karma is not offered to the Supreme Lord will cause suffering to us. And this is the essence of Bhagavad Gita. So therefore, this is a central point of Bhagavad Gita, this Niskam Karma Yoga or Bhakti Yoga. So whatever we are doing, we have to do it for Krishna. So verse number 38 says that fight for the sake of fighting and without being attached to the fruits. Fight for the sake of fighting without being attached to the fruits or being attached to happiness, distress, loss or gain, anything like that. So this is a very important point, and the same point will be reiterated through the whole section. Eshate vihita shankhe buddhirijoge tvamam shrinum buddhya yuktaya partha karma bandham prahasyashi. Thus far, I have described this knowledge to you through analytical study. Analytical study means what? Analytical study means analysis of body and soul. The Atma Tattva analysis Krishna has already done. So that is called Sankhya Yoga or analytical study. So you can write down these terminologies. This will come again and again. So it will be easier to understand. So analytical study refers to Sankhya Yoga or analysis of body and soul. Analytical study means Sankhya Yoga, analysis of body and soul. That has been already explained in verse number 11 to 30 of this chapter, which is called Atma Tattva. Now listen as I explain it in terms of working without fruitive results. O son of Pritha, when you act in such knowledge, you can free yourselves from the bondage of works. So already Krishna has explained the Atma Tattva or Sankhya Yoga. Now Krishna is explaining Niskam Karma Yoga or Buddhi Yoga. So again, there are different terminologies. And we should be absolutely clear about these terminologies, that Niskam Karma Yoga is same as Buddhi Yoga. Niskam Karma Yoga is same as Buddhi Yoga. And what does it mean? It means detached work without reactions. If we are detached from the fruits of our work and we just work as a duty, then we can escape all karmic reactions. And another point is Niskam Karma Yoga is not complete without bhakti. Because till the point you bring Krishna into the picture, you cannot actually perform this. You cannot actually practice this, that I will not be attached to the fruits, but still I will do my work as a duty. This is a wonderful art we all have to learn. Once we are masters of this art, no distress will be able to touch us. So Bhagavad Gita is giving us this shield, but building these shields requires some amount of effort. We have to practice this again and again, doing everything for Krishna. then we will build such a shield around us that no distress will be able to touch us. And this is the central point of Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna will now explain the Niskam Karma Yoga or Buddhi Yoga. That is spoken in verse number 39. So 39 says, now I will explain Buddhi Yoga or Niskam Karma Yoga. Neha Vikramana Susti Pratta Vayuna Vidyate Swalpam Apyasya Dharmasya Trayate Mahato Bhayat. This is a very important verse. And it says, in this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution. And a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. So this is called conservation principle of bhakti. If we have perfected ourselves 20% in this lifetime, we have become 20% purified by the practice of devotional service. In the next lifetime, we will start from 21%. But if we are completing our education by doing a Ph.D. in this lifetime, we cannot directly join postdoc in the next lifetime. So the principle is material achievements will be washed away, but spiritual credit will be preserved. How this spiritual credit is preserved? Suppose someone is very, very advanced in this lifetime. He has almost reached 90% perfection, but he has not completed till 100%. So therefore, he has to take birth again. So when he will take birth again, very quickly he will attain this 90% stage. And then he will also struggle to complete the next 10%. But this 90%, which he has already accomplished in the previous life, very quickly, within a few months, he will come to that stage. So therefore, in this ISKCON movement, there are many devotees, and I have also come across many devotees who has taken up this devotional service very seriously within a very short period of time. So that means in the previous lifetime, they have some record, and due to that Sukriti, they are coming to this platform very quickly. And then from that platform, they will also struggle and they will further purify themselves. So therefore, this is speaking about the conservation principle of bhakti, text number 40. That bhakti will be conserved over different lifetimes, and it can protect us from most dangerous type of fear. So the most dangerous type of fear is not death. Sometimes people think that, okay, if you do bhakti, I will not die. No, nothing like that. Death is not a very important thing. We have already described. Dehi nosmin yatha dehi kumaram yovanam jara tatha dehantaro praptir dhiras tatra na muhyate. A sober person is not bewildered by the change of body during death. So death is nothing but changing of garment for a soul. So this is not a big deal. But then what is the most dangerous type of fear? If our soul is degraded, that is the most dangerous type of fear. We have got this human form of life. If we do not utilize the human form correctly, we will glide down to animal species. And again, getting a human form will be very, very difficult. We have to go through so many different types of species, and then we will again get the human birth. So this is the most dangerous type of fear. Gliding down to lower species from the human birth. And bhakti can protect us from this dangerous type of fear. Vyavasayatmika buddhir ekeha kurunandana bahushakha hi anantascha buddhayo vyavasayinam. Those who are on this path are resolute in purpose and their aim is one. O beloved child of the Kurus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many branched. So one who is performing this Niskam Karma Yoga or Buddhi Yoga will build a tremendous amount of focus. Vyavasayatmika buddhi. So that particular person will be focused because he has no desires. He has conquered over his desires. Mind goes here and there because of different desires. But one who has perfected this yoga of Niskam Karma Yoga, and obviously to perfect yourselves in Niskam Karma Yoga, you need to practice Bhakti Yoga. You have to bring Krishna into the picture. Without Lord's mercy, it is impossible to control the mind. But one who has done that will be resolute in purpose and their aim is one, will be very focused. And the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many branched. So those who are not in this path of Niskam Karma Yoga will be confused, will not have clarity, will be lost among different statements of the scriptures, and they will have to suffer. Okay, verse number 42, 43. Yamimam pushpitam vacham prabhadanti avivaschitam vedavarata partha nanyadasti vadinam कामत्मना स्वर्गपरा जन्म कर्म फलप्रदम क्रिया विशेष बहुलम भोगैश्वर्य गतिम प्रति. Men of small knowledge are very much attached to the flowery words of the Vedas, which recommend various fruitive activities for elevation to heavenly planets, resultant good birth, power, and so forth. Being desirous of sense gratification and opulent life, they say that there is nothing more than this. So here Krishna is instructing Arjuna that, oh Arjuna, you should not be limited to the level of the Vedas. Vedas are for everyone. Vedas accommodate everyone. So 99% of the population are only interested to satisfy material desires. So therefore Vedas are also accommodating them, and Vedas are prescribing some ways to attain those material pleasures. If you want a good wife, what you have to do? If you want good health, what you have to do? If you want to go to the heavenly planets, what all fire sacrifices you have to do? Everything, all the prescriptions are there in the Vedas. If you want siddhis, what you need to do? So all these things are there. But Krishna is instructing Arjuna, Arjuna, you should be uplifting yourselves from these material desires. So do not get yourself limited to the level of the Vedas, or mainly the Karmakandi section of the Vedas, which gives us different prescriptions to fulfill different material desires. Fulfillment of material desires will not cause happiness in the long run. Arjuna, try to understand this and uplift yourselves from this level and practice this Niskam Karma Yoga. This Niskam Karma Yoga actually will satisfy you and will make you immune to all problems of this material world. That is the actual solution. So following some Vedic prescriptions to fulfill our material desires is not the solution. The actual solution is to practice Niskam Karma Yoga or Bhakti Yoga. Bhogaishwarya prashaktanam tayapahita chetasham vyavashayatmika buddhi samadho na vidhiyate. In the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence, and who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination for devotional service to the Supreme Lord does not take place. So if our minds are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence, if your mind is having too many material desires, then it is impossible to gain resolute determination or focus in devotional service or in any of the material fields as well. So whatever we invest in the spiritual life gets reflected in the material life. If we are practicing spiritual life very nicely, that will be reflected in our material life also. Okay, so in our professional life also we will excel. If spiritually we are satisfied, we are practicing the Bhakti Yoga nicely, we are chanting our rounds regularly, and we are understanding this message of Bhagavad Gita, regularly hearing some glories about the Supreme Lord, offering bhoga to the Supreme Lord. So if you are spiritually satisfied, means if the Atma is satisfied, so that will be reflected into the other aspects, buddhi, mana, and indriya. And that will be visible in our material life, professional life, others' life also, because we will be satisfied at the core of our heart. So in every field, we will excel. Okay, so again, Krishna is telling the same thing. Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunya Bhavarjuna Nirdvanda Nitya Satyastho Nirjogakshema Atmavan. The Vedas deal mainly with the subject of three modes of material nature. O Arjuna, become transcendental to these three modes. Be free from all dualities and from all anxieties for gain and safety, and be established in the self. So the Vedas are dealing with Karma Kanda and the three modes of material nature. Okay. But this, by practicing this Niskam Karma Yoga, you will be able to rise above these three modes of material nature, Sattva, Raja, and Tama. And then we will be free from all dualities and from all anxieties for gain and safety. and be established in the self. So therefore, uplift yourselves from the limitation of the Vedas or the Karma Kandik section of the Vedas. That's spoken in verse number 45. 46 says, Yavan artha udapane sarvato samplutodake tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanasya vijanatah. All purposes are served by a small well can at once be served by a great reservoir of water. Similarly, all the purposes of Vedas can be served to one who knows the purpose behind them. So basically, one who performs this Niskam Karma Yoga or Bhakti Yoga gets the benefit of all other yogas. Within Bhakti Yoga, you get the benefit of Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, and you get even more than that. We have already explained this in the Yoga Ladder, that if you do Bhakti Yoga, you get all the benefits of Karma, Jnana, and Ashtanga, and even more than that. Just like if you have a $100 bill, within that $1, $2, $5, $10, everything is included. So that is the power of Niskam Karma Yoga or Bhakti Yoga. And this is a very popular verse. We have all heard about this. Karmanyavadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachanam ma karma phala heturvor mati sangastva karmanim. You have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of your action. Never consider yourself the cause of your results of your activities and never be attached to not doing your duty. So we should not be attached to the fruits of our action. We should be equipoised. Whatever is our duty, we have to do, whether we like it or not. And so the last statement says, never be attached to not doing your duty. So Arjuna is trying to be avoiding his duty. That means he is being attached to not doing his duty. That is also not correct. Whatever is my duty, I have to do without attachment. And even if I do not like, still I have to do. The same thing Krishna has already spoken in the 2.14. Matra sparsas tu kwanteya shitoshna shuka dukkhada agamopaino nityastam titikshashva bharata. Tolerate. Whether you like it or not, you have to do. If you are not ready to do something, suppose some particular work you do not like to do it, but still you have to do. You have to force your mind. You have to train your mind in such a way that even the things which you do not like, but you know that is beneficial for you, that is your dharma, that is your prescribed duty, even if you do not like, we should do that. So that's spoken here. Yogastho kuru karmani sangam tvakta dhananjaya siddhya siddhya samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. So this samatvam is called yoga. Samatvam means equipoised nature. I am not attached to anything. I am not detached from anything. So I have no personal likings or dislikings. Whatever is good for me, whatever duty I have to perform, I will perform. It does not matter whether I like it or not. This is called equipoised nature. And this is the response of a yogi. Such a person never suffers in this material world. Everyone else will suffer because of the attachment or aversion. Perform your duty equipoised to Arjuna, abandoning all attachment to success or failure. Such equanimity is called yoga. This equanimity is called yoga. So text number 48 says that equanimity is yoga. Very important statement. So we have a few more verses up to 53. We can complete this section today. Dure nahi yavaram karma buddhi yoga dhananjaya buddhau sharanam anvicha kripana phalahetava. O Dhananjaya, means Arjuna, keep all abominable activities far distant by devotional service, and in that consciousness surrender unto the Lord. Those who want to enjoy the fruits of their work are misers. So Krishna is telling, keep all abominable activities far distance by devotional service. So abominable activities means what? Doing anything for sake of us. So suppose a student is studying. So what is abominable here? If he is studying for his own sake, if he is studying with a mentality that I will study, I will make money, then I will enjoy, this is abominable. But the same study, if he is doing it for Krishna, that whatever I will achieve through that post, position, designation, I will preach the glories of the Supreme Lord. Whatever I earn, with some percentage of that, I will support the preaching of this message of Bhagavad Gita. This is a divine motivation, and this is allowed. This is safe. But if we are doing anything for ourselves, then that is abominable, and that will cause sufferings to us. So Krishna is telling that keep all abominable activities distant by devotional service or performance of this Niskam Karma Yoga, and like this surrender unto the Lord. You can also see Krishna is revealing here. So initially I explained that Niskam Karma Yoga you cannot do unless you surrender unto the Lord. So therefore Krishna is also speaking about surrendering unto him. Otherwise performance of Niskam Karma Yoga is impossible. Now this is a very important verse, and Arjuna will have some misconceptions on this verse. He will not be able to understand this properly, and that will be the beginning of the 3rd chapter. In the beginning of the 3rd chapter, Arjuna will ask this question to the Supreme Lord. His confusion will arise from this verse. These abominable activities Arjuna will basically think that abominable activity means killing. So Krishna is telling me that keep all abominable activities far distant, means do not engage yourselves in killing or fighting. So then Arjuna will be confused, and Arjuna will ask that what are you saying? Say me definitively that what you want to say. One time you are saying me to fight, and again you are telling me dure na hi avaram karma buddhi yogam dhananjaya, keep all abominable activities aside. So you are telling me not to fight. So what should I do? So this will cause a confusion in Arjuna's mind. Buddhi yukta jahatiha ubhe shukrita dushkritim tasmad yogaya jujvasva yoga karma shukaushalam. This is the motto of IIT Kharagpur from India. So buddhi yukta jahatiha ubhe shukrita dushkrita tasmad yogaya jujvasva yoga karma shukaushalam. A man engaged in devotional service rids himself of both good and bad reactions. If we are doing Niskam Karma Yoga or devotional service, we will get rid of both good and bad reactions. No karma will be generated. We are absolutely safe. Karma will not be able to touch us. Therefore, strive for yoga, which is the art of all work. And this art we have to master. How to work in such a way that every work is an offering to the Supreme Lord. Whatever difficulties we are facing in our life, everything is due to our karma. We have done some bad karma in the past lifetimes or in this lifetime. Due to that karma, we are suffering. Once we are able to master this art of doing everything for the sake of Krishna, the whole problem due to karma is solved. So you can see that how much profound solution Gita is providing. Gita is not telling if you have this problem, you adapt to some temporary solution. This is the permanent solution to all problems. If you master this particular art, even if problems come, it will not be, you will not see them as problems. It will not appear to be a problem to you. So this message is quite powerful. Karmajam buddhi yukta hi phalam tyaktya manishinam janmavandha vinirmukta padam gacchantya anmayam. By thus engaging in devotional service to the Lord, great sages or devotees free themselves from the result of work. And there are evidences in the past. So Krishna is not telling you something which is like Krishna is not experimenting with Arjuna. That you try this and see what happens. It has been already tried and tested by great sages, and they have freed themselves from the result of work in this material world. In this way, they have become free from the cycle of birth and death and attain the state beyond all miseries. And this is also possible while you are alive. We have discussed that. This is the stage of Jivan Mukta. It's not that after death you will be freed from all the actions of, you will be free from the bondage of karma. Even in this particular lifetime, you can be free if you perfectly adopt this knowledge and practice this knowledge, realize this knowledge. Yada te moha kalilam buddhir yatitirishyatim tada gantashi nirvedam shrotavyasya shutasya cham. When your intelligence has passed out of the dense forest of delusion, you shall become indifferent to all that has been heard and all that is to be heard. So in general, people are confused. Whenever they hear something new, they are confused. Even in the spiritual subject matter, in the material subject matter, they do not have clarity. And they get influenced easily by someone because they do not have clarity. But by practicing this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, you will get absolute clarity and you will pass the dense forest of delusion or illusion or confusion. And then you shall become indifferent to all that has been heard and all that is to be heard. So you will see that you have known everything. There is nothing new for you to learn. So if you can accept or realize this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, you are directly taking knowledge from the Supreme Lord, and this knowledge is complete. You do not have to gather experiences by staying into this material world for another million lifetimes. No, it's not required. The knowledge of Bhagavad Gita is sufficient and complete, and it will be removing all your confusions. The same thing Krishna repeats in again chapter 7. Jnanam. So Krishna is telling that Jaj Gyatva Neha Bhuya Nad Gyatvabyam Avashishyate. If you have realized this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, there is nothing left for you to know. Okay. So this is the last verse of this section of Niskam Karma Yoga. Shruti Viprati Panyate Jada Sthashyati Nishchalam Samadho Vachala Buddhis Tatha Yogam Abhavshashi. When your mind is no longer disturbed by the flowery language of the Vedas, means the Karma Kanda section of the Vedas, and when it remains fixed in the trance of self-realizations, means you are always connected to Krishna by Bhakti Yoga, then you will have attained the divine consciousness. And in that consciousness, everything will be blissful for you. There will be no misery. And in all fields, you will excel. And all aspects of life will become auspicious. So that's the section of Niskam Karma Yoga. And then Arjuna will ask something that is this possible for someone to perform Niskam Karma Yoga completely? Is there anybody who has already perfected in Niskam Karma Yoga? If there is someone, how can I identify that person? What are the characteristics of such a person? And now Krishna will explain the characteristics of such a person who has mastered this art of Niskam Karma Yoga. And that person technically is called Sthita Pragya. So the next section from verse number 54 to 72 will Krishna will speak about the qualities of a Sthita Pragya. Okay. So that we can discuss in the next class. Now we will chant together one round of Hare Krishna Mahamantra.
Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Radha Srivasadi Gaur Bhakti. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare.
Okay, thank you everyone for attending this session. Any questions from any of the topics discussed today or previously? Okay, I think everything was clear. So let's meet again next week and we'll continue from verse number 54. Hare Krishna.